talk about different properties of math. Who can raise their hand and tell me what properties we have learned about? Then give me just one, Isabella.
Associative property.
Associative property, Caitlin.
Distributive property.
Distributive property, Alex. Commutative property, Sean. Associative.
Miss Landry?
Yes, ma'am.
Is Maddie Bennett in there?
Miss Bailey's room.
Thank you.
We already said commutative, so we have commutative, associative, and distributive. There's two other properties that we talked about. Do you know, Tiffany? Beautiful, the identity property. What is the identity property, Tiffany? Do you remember? Any number equals that number. Very good. Everybody stand up and let's review that. So any number
Times
1 equals
that number.
again.
Any number multiplied by 1 equals that number.
Beautiful, beautiful. Stay standing up. Okay, what is the other property that we learned about, Lizzie?
I forgot its name, but it's when we do zeros.
Beautiful. It's the zero property. What's the zero property, Lizzie?
Any number times 0 equals 0.
Beautiful. Everyone, let's do that together.
Any number multiplied by 0 equals 0.
Again.
Any number multiplied by 0 equals 0.
Beautiful. Have a seat. So, properties of multiplication. Just like addition and subtraction, the operation of multiplication has different properties or rules. We've learned some of the properties already, which we just discussed. So we learned the zero property, and the zero property means that any number multiplied by 0 equals
0.
Beautiful. So here are some examples. 0 times 6 is 0. 0 times 8 is 0. Not using the examples on the board, can someone else give me an example? Lindsay? Let me get
12 times 0 equals 0.
12 times 0 equals 0. Sean?
10 times 0 equals 0.
Okay. Jace?
1 times 0 equals 0.
Beautiful. Alandria? 5 times 0 equals what?
0.
0. Beautiful. Okay, hands down. And the identity property is any number multiplied 1 equals what?
1. That number.
Equals that number. So give me an example of the identity property. Piper.
Like if you got 8 multiplied by 1, it would equal 8.
8 times 1 equals 8. Okay, let me get another one, Jericho.
10 times 1 equals 10.
Okay. Addison.
1 times 1 equals
1 times 1 equals 1. Beautiful. And then we talked about the commutative property. So the commutative property of multiplication is similar to the commutative property of addition. Who can tell me what is a commutative property? Joey, you know what the commutative property is?
It is similar to the community property of addition.
I'm sorry, Sid, I can't hear you.
It is similar to the community property of addition.
It is similar to it, but do you know what you actually do in the commutative property? Like, what do you do with your add-ins in addition or factors in multiplication? Jace, can you help him out?
You switch the factors around.
Beautiful. You can switch the factors around. If you switch the factors around, is that going to cause you to get a different product?
No.
No. So in addition, if you change the add-ins, you still get the same sum. In multiplication, if you change the factors, you still get the same product. Very good. So if we did 6 times 8 equals 48, we can flip it, understanding the commutative property, and know that 8 times 6 also equals 48. Can anyone give me an example of one that's not on the board here? Alex? You can use one that you already know.
5 times 5 equals 25.
Okay, that's good, but let's try to use some different numbers, okay? Not the same numbers. Addison?
3
Okay, 3 times 2 equals 6, so how would we use the commutative property to change that? 6 times 2 equals 6? Yes? Okay, so she said 3 times 2 equals 6, and then 6 times 2 equals 6. Do you agree? Thumbs up if you agree. Thumbs down if you don't agree. Okay, Piper, can you help her fix that for me? She said 2, the original problem was 2 times 3 equals 6.
It would be 2. It would be 2 times 3 equals 6, but it really equals 5.
2 times 3 equals 5? Okay, let's look back here. Addison said 2 times 3 equals 6. First off, do we agree? Does 2 times 3 equal 6?
Yes.
It doesn't? Okay, what do you want to... Are you sure? Well, let's check and make sure. What do you want to count by? 2s or 3s? 3s. Hold up your 2 fingers. 3, 6. So is it equal 6?
Yes.
Yes. So using the commutative property, how can we change this problem? Caitlin?
You push the 3 to the top and the 2 to the back and it equals 6.
So it would be 3 times 2
Equals 6.
equals 6. Thumbs up if you agree. Good. Let's try one more. If I did 3 times 4, what's 3 times 4?
12.
12. Beautiful. How can I use a commutative property to change this? Alex? Beautiful. I love how he said that you switched the factors. Can you move the product?
No.
No, you're only switching the factors. Very good. Excuse me. Okay, so we also learned, and what we've been talking about mostly this week, is the distributive property. Okay, so who can tell me, what do we do for the distributive property? Sean. What is the distributive property?
Like sharing.
It is sharing. Tetrany, can you help him out?
Distributive property is when you break, like, say, 105 times 2, you know that, but if you wouldn't know it, you would break it up into a smaller problem.
Beautifully said. The distributive property is when you break down a larger multiplication problem into smaller multiplication problems so that you can solve it easier. Okay? So it is also known as the sharing property. You break one large multiplication sentence into 2 smaller sentences. So if we had 10 times 4, we could break it into 5 times 4 plus 5 times 4. Okay? So let's do an example. Excuse me. Three times 6. How can we use the distributive property to break down this problem? Isabella, why don't you come up here and show us? Okay, so far she kept the 3 the same, and then she broke up the 6 to 3 and 3. Does 3 and 3 equal 6?
Yes.
Okay, so thumbs up if you agree so far. Okay, beautiful. Keep going. So what is 3 times 3? Mm-hmm. 9 times 9 is what, class?
18.
18. Beautiful. Thumbs up if you agree with what she just did. Wonderful. Let's look real quick though. She did a wonderful job breaking it up. Could we break this down further?
Yes.
How can we break it down, Mackenzie? We can break it down into 2 more. So what number is staying the same? 3. And how are we breaking it up? 2 and 1. So 3 times 2 is,
6.
3 times 1 is,
3.
3 times 2 is,
6.
and 3 times 1 is,
3.
6 plus 6 is,
12.
plus 3 is,
15.
15 plus 3 more is
18.
18. Okay? So we use a distributive property to break down 3 times 6 and then to break down 3 times 3. Alright. We're doing exercises with me walking back and forth. Okay, so, and then we talked about the associative property. Who can tell me what is the associative property? No, not sure? Okay, well the associative property is also known as the grouping property. It's similar to the associative property of addition. You can change the grouping of factors and the product will be the same. So when you were in 2nd grade and you had to solve an addition problem using 3 addends, how would you solve it? So let's see. Four plus 6 plus 2.
12.
Okay, let's stop and think a second. Yes, it's 12, but let's think. Before you knew how to do these mentally in your head, how did you solve this? What did you do, Lizzie?
I did it like 4. You do 4 dots, then I added 6, then 2.
Okay, yes, you can use arrays. That's not what I'm looking for, though. Addison?
I would know 6 in my head, and then I used to do my things. I used to do like 6 and 7.
Okay, well, you said 6, and then what other number did you add? So first you would add the 6 and the 4, right? So you would do 6 plus 4, and 6 plus 4 is what?
10.
10. And then you would do 10 plus 2. So what's 10 plus 2?
12.
Okay, do y'all remember doing this?
Yes.
Okay, another way that you might have learned would have been 4 plus 6 plus 2. We're using the same numbers. You would do 4 plus 6 is 10, and then 10 plus 2 is 12. This is the associative property of addition. Grouping your numbers so that you can get your sum. Knowing the associative property of addition, how do you think we can use this property to solve for multiplication? Are we going to use the same strategy?
Yeah.
So if I have, oops, wrong one. Three times 2 times 3, you can add the sums together if it was an addition problem quickly in your head. Can you multiply this really quickly in your head? No. You're going to have to use some kind of property to break it down, and that's where the associative property comes in. So how can we group this to solve it? Pick 2 numbers for me, Caitlin.
3 and 2.
So we'll do 3 times 2 first. Well, we know 3 times 2, right?
Yes.
So what's 3 times 2?
6.
6. Now we're going to multiply what?
6 times 3
Equals what?
18.
Equals 18. Just like we did the associative property with addition, and you can change your groupings, we can also change our groupings in multiplication. So instead of starting out with 3 times 2, I could do 2 times 3. What is 2 times 3?
6.
And then we're going to do 3 times 6 equals.
18.
So we changed our grouping. Did our product change?
No.
No, the product doesn't change. In the associative property, you can change the grouping and your product will remain the same. Okay, also, when doing the associative property, you do your first grouping and multiply, and we got 6 times 3. If this is a problem that's too big for you, what property can you use to break this down? Jace?
You could use 5 and 1.
What's the property called that you're using? What's the name of the property? Distributive property. So we can use a distributive property to break this down so that we can solve it. Why don't you come up here and show us, Jace? Okay, so don't go anywhere yet. So Jace took 6 times 3. He broke up the 6 to be 5 and 1, and then he kept the 3 the same. So now it's 3 and 3. So you have 5 times 3 plus 1 times 3. Thumbs up if you agree. Yes, because 5 and 1 does make 6. And remember, you break down one factor and the other factor stays the same. Okay, Jay, so what is 5 times 3? Class, help him out. What's 5 times 3?
15.
15. And what's 1 times 3?
3.
So what's 15 plus 3?
18.
18. Thank you. You can have a seat. Thank you. Okay, so you can also use the distributive property to help solve a multiplication sentence using 3 factors. Okay? All right. So looking at 3 factors, if we have 3 times 4 times 2, first you're multiplying the 3 times 4 which is what we did over there. We grouped the first two factors to multiply. So what's 3 times 4? 12. And then we take this product and multiply it by the third factor. So now we would have 12 times 2 equals 24. You can change the, you can group the factors differently and still get the same product. So instead of starting with 3 times 4, what could we have started with?
4 times 2.
Yes, we could have done 4 times 2. And then if we did 4 times 2 equals 8, what would our next sentence be?
8 times 3.
And 8 times 3 equals
24.
24. Did our product change?
No.
No. Okay, so let's try some more. 4 times 5 times 1. What are we going to group? Rivers.
4 and 5.
Okay, so we're going to do 4 and 5 first. So we're going to pretend like this isn't here. So what is 4 times 5? 20. And then what's our next sentence?
20 times 1.
20 times 1. Good. So 20 times 1 is?
20.
So what is 4 times 5 times 1?
20.
Beautiful. What's another way that we can group this? Let me get somebody who has it raise their hand. Jack? Okay, we can do 5 times 1. So what is 5 times 1? 5. And now what's our next sentence going to be?
5 times 4.
And 5 times 4 is?
20.
Beautiful. All right, so our next one's going to be 2 times 6 times 2. So we're going to work this one over here. Times 6 times 2. How are we going to group this, Alandria? We're going to start with the 2 and the 6. Okay? So, 2 and 6. Can we use the distributive property to break this down?
Yes.
Yes? Come and show me, Alandria. Okay, let's look. Hold on just a second. Don't go nowhere. Step to the side for me so everybody can see. So far, Alandria brought it down to distributive property. What number did she keep the same?
The
2. How did she break up her 6? 3 and 3. Do you agree? Thumbs up. Beautiful. Okay, so what's 2 times 3, Alandria? Okay. And what's 6 plus 6, class?
12.
12. Okay, now, 2 times 6 equals 12. So what's our next sentence going to be?
12 times 2. 12 times 2.
12 times 2. Don't go nowhere. Stay right there. So now we're going to do 12 times 2. Can we use the distributive property to break this up?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Do it one more time for me. Okay, let's look, guys. So she kept 12 the same, and she broke up 2 as 1 and 1. Do you agree? Does 1 and 1 make 2? Yes, it does. Okay, so what's 12 times 1?
12.
And then 12 times 1? Okay, so 12 plus 12 is 24. So 12 times 2 equals 24. Thank you, sweetie. You can go sit down. So what is 2 times 6 times 2? 24. Beautiful. Lost my right. All right. Because we're talking about the associative property, is there another way that I could do this? Caitlin?
You can put 6 times 2.
Beautiful. Instead of grouping 2 times 6, you could group 6 times 2. Is my product going to change? No. So what is 2 times 6 times 2?
Still 24.
Still 24, because even though we changed the grouping, we do not change the product. All right, let's try another one. I have to pick the board. 5 times 2 times 2. All right, so using the associative property, what numbers are we going to group?
5.
Jericho.
5 times 2.
5 times 2. Beautiful. Okay, so can we use the distributive property to break this down? Yes. Sean, Ruli, why don't you come up here and show me how to do that? You do it lower, baby, so you can reach it. It doesn't have to be that high. What number are you going to keep the same? Okay. So you're going to break up the 5. How are you going to break up the 5? You have 5, Sean. Look here. You have 5. What 2 numbers make up 5? Okay, 3 and 2. Okay, so let's look at this. You broke up 5 as 3 and 3. Is that right? Does 3 and 3 equal 5? No. You had it right when you said it. What's it supposed to be? 3 and what? You can look at your hand. It's okay. So you said 3 for the first one, so what's your next number going to be? Look at me, Sean. You said 3, so what's your next number going to be? How many fingers do I have here? 2. So your next number is going to be 2. So class, does 3 and 2 make 5?
Yes.
Yes. And he kept 2 and 2 the same. So now we're going to multiply them. 3 times 2 is what?
6.
6. Right here. Plus. Now what, Sean, what's 2 times 2? Is 2 times 2 4, class?
Yes.
Yes. So now, what is 6 plus 4? Okay, good. So 5 times 2 equals 10. Let me see that. Don't go nowhere though. 5 times 2 is 10. Now what's our next sentence going to be, Piper?
2 times 2.
Nope. If 5 times 2 is 10, what's the rest of our sentence going to be? We multiplied 5 and 2.
10. I mean
10 times 2. Okay? So can we use a distributive property to break this up?
10. Yes.
Yes, we can. Break up 10 and 2 for me, Sean. Okay, so you keep in the twos. That's good. So that means you're going to break up your 5. How are you going to break up your 10? How are you going to break up your 10? Okay, 5 and 2. Does that equal 10? No. Try again. How can you break up 10? 5 and 5. Does 5 and 5 equal 10, class?
Yes.
Yes. So you're going to put 5 and 5. Okay, Sean, what's 5 times 2? Beautiful. What's 10 plus 10, class?
20.
20. So 10 times 2 equals
20.
beautiful. So 5 times 2 times 2 is
20.
20. Beautiful. Thank you, Sean. You can go have a seat. What if I did it like this? Is my product going to change?
No.
Why not? Alex, why not? Why is my product not going to change?
Because we're still using the same.
We're still using the same factors. By switching the grouping, what property did I just use? Kevin? The associative property. Very good. All right. What we're going to do is I'm going to give everyone a note card, and you're going to work with your partners to solve the next problem. So our next problem is 3 times 3 times 4. You need to work together to solve this problem. So work together to solve this problem. Remember to use the associative property, and if you need to, you can use what property to break it down? The what? The what? Distributive property. All right. Alexander, come over here with Rivers, please. Okay, class, go ahead. Just do it on the other side. You can use either side, it's okay. Huh? Did I not give you one? I'm sorry, sweetie. The other guys don't want to hear you talking to each other on how you're solving it, okay? this one? You can use the what? You can use distributed property to break it down. Exactly what you'll be working with your partner on this, okay? Explain to them what you're doing. Good job, guys. Which ones did you put together? Show which ones you group. You different, show which ones you group together. So which one are you doing? Which one are you doing? These two factors or these two factors? Okay, so those are the factors that we're working on first. Okay, did you explain to him what you did? Okay, good. You did 3 times 4. Is that how you group it? You did 3 times 4. Okay, you break that up. Okay, you're not doing 6 times 6, remember? What are you supposed to do? Right, 6 plus 6. You Joey had it. You need to talk to your partner and let her know what she was doing wrong. Did you have plus? And you have your sum. Okay? So make sure y'all are working together. So now that you have 12, now what is your multiplication sum is going to be? You already did 3 times 4. So this part you've done. 3 times 4 is what? 3 times 4 is 12. So now what do you need to do? Beautiful. Now you're going to do 12 times 3 to solve the problem. Okay. Okay, so what are you going to do to solve this? You're doing the distributive property? Is that what you're doing, Joey? Okay, y'all need to talk to each other. What's your first step? Okay. Are you listening, Joey? Don't go ahead or work together. Help each other out, okay? Y'all are doing good. Which 2 did you group? 3 times 3? And you're using the distributive property to work it out? Okay, you're doing good. So 3 plus 6 is 9. Now what's your multiplication sentence now? No. 9 times 4. Okay, so now you need to figure out what 9 times 4 is. Are you listening, Michael? Okay. So you grouped, let me see your pencil. You grouped the 3 times 3 first. That's good. You'll have that right. So now you're doing 9 times 4. Y'all are doing right. You're going in the right direction. So now you need to do 9 times 4 equals. Okay? Help them out, Jericho. Explain to them what your next step is, okay? You're doing the distributive property. What do you need to do? Breaking it down. So what number are you going to keep the same? What number do you want to keep the same? The 4. So we're going to keep the 4 the same. Michael, write your 4 in parentheses. Beautiful. Now we're going to break up the 9. So how are you going to break up the 9? 1 and what? Okay, good, Michael. You're doing great. So explain to your partner what you did. You did 5 and 4. Why did you do 5 and 4? Because that equals what? Yeah, that's right. It equals 9. So you have 4 times 4 and 4 times 5. Okay? Now you just need to solve these two. So what's 5 times 4? 5 times 4? Let's count. Well, how about 5? So let it go down. 20. And what's 4 times 4? We have 4. We have 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You have it, Michael? 4 times 5 was 16. Beautiful. Now what's 16 plus 20? Good job, guys. Okay, thumbs up if you're finished. Okay, good job. So let's go over this. Excuse me. Three times 3 times 4. Okay, so what do we want to group first? Sean. 3 times 3? Okay, so what is 3 times 3? Jace Morris. 9. Beautiful. So now we have 9 times what? Alex? 9 times 4. Well, 9 times 4 is kind of a hard one. So what can we do to break this down? What property are we going to use? Distributive property. Very good. Jericho, why don't you come up here and help me break this down? So we're going to break down 9 times 4. Okay? Okay, what number are you going to keep the same? Okay, stop for a second. Let's look. So Jericho kept the 4 the same. Kept the 4 the same, and he broke down his 9. So he put 5 and 4. Do you agree? Does that make 9?
Yes.
Yes. So now we're going to do 5 times 4. What's 5 times 4, class?
20.
20. Write it down. And then we did 4 times 4. So what's 4 times 4? 16. Beautiful. So what is 20 plus 16?
36.
So what is 3 times 3 times 4?
36.
36. Thank you, sweetie. Okay, so for those of you who did not group 3 times 3 first, what's the other grouping that we could have done using the associative property? Isabella? 3 times 4. So we're going to do 3 times 4 first. Can we use the distributive property to break this down? Kevin, why don't you come help us out? What number do you want to keep the same, Kevin? Okay. So that means we're going to break down the 3. How are you going to break down the 3? What's your first number going to be? 2. And then what's your next number going to be? Okay, so if you put 2 and 2, does 2 and 2 make 3?
2
2 and 1, very good. And are you multiplying or adding these numbers? No. What symbol goes here in the middle? Multiplication, yes, so you're multiplying. Okay, so what is 2 times 4? Beautiful. Write it down there. And what's 1 times 4? 4. Write it right here. Now 8. So 8 plus 4 equals, gotta remember to put your plus sign. So 8 plus 4 equals what, class? 12. Okay, so now 3 times 4 is 12, but are we finished?
No.
Now what do we need to do?
12 times 3.
So now we need to do 12 times 3. Okay, so what do we need to do in order to solve this?
Distributive properties.
I gotta get from that out of the way, sorry. We're gonna do distributive property. Isabella, thank you, Kevin. Why don't you come up here and do this one for me? 12 times 3. Okay, so Isabella kept the 3, and then she broke the 12 to 6 and 6. Do you agree? Thumbs up. Beautiful. Okay, so what is 6 times 3? If it's too hard to do, what can you do? You can break it down again. Okay, so she kept her 3 and broke 6 down to 3 and 3. Do you agree? Thumbs up. Do you agree, Alex? Do you agree, Michael? Okay, good. So what's 3 times 3? No. What's 3 times 3? Let's count by 3s. 3, 6, 9. Okay, so what about this one? I'm going to break this one up also. Okay, so 3 times 3 is, class? 9. And 3 times 3 is? 9. Beautiful. So what's 9 plus 9? 18. And what's 9 plus 9? 18. So what is 18 plus 18? What's 8 plus 8?
16.
What's 1 plus 1 plus 1?
3.
Thank you, Isabella. You can have a seat. So we said 3 times 4 was 12. And 3 times 12 is what? 36. So 3 times 3 times 4 is?
36.
Did our product change?
No.
No.